There is a very particular kind of magic that happens when artwork leaves the canvas a scarf that carries a painting's story, a kimono that feels like stepping into an exhibition, a cushion or print that brings a gallery moment into someone's home. But behind that magic, there is a lot of processes. Original or licensed artwork, you're not just using a pretty image, you're honoring someone's creative life's work and you're translating it into a commercial product. Get it right, and it's one of the most rewarding parts of this industry. Get it wrong, and you can damage reputations and relationships. I'm Bhavna Rishi, founder of Build the Dream brand, and for over 20 years, I've been helping founders, artists, and fashion startups design, launch, and scale brands from museums like V&A department stores to artists and the new startups. And in this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Building the Brand, I want to walk you through a world of working with artists and licensed artwork to create merchandise, including how licensing works and industry standard royalty ranges and key things to protect in your own agreements. This is for anyone who is an artist and looking to create their own merchandise and gain sales and exposure through the creative works of art that they do. How merchandise licensing works. Let's start with the basics. When you license an artwork, you're not buying the art, you're buying permission to use it in very specific ways for a defined time on defined products in defined territories. In most cases, the artist or rights holder, like a museum or image archive, is the licensor. You or your brand is the licensee. You pay them a fee using a royalty percentage on sales, sometimes with an upfront advance or minimum guarantee. The agreement should clearly spell out which artworks you're using, what products you can put it on, like scarf, dresses, cushion prints, runners, where can you sell, UK, Europe, worldwide, and for how long, 1 year or 3 years. How and when royalties will be reported and paid. Licensing can be exclusive. You can use that artwork in that category or territory, or non-exclusive, where the artist can license it to others too. Exclusive rights usually cost more through high royalties or an advance because the artist is giving up other potential income for that period. What's a normal royalty percentage? Exact rates always depend on the deal, the artist profile, and the product category, but there are typical ranges we see across industry. For fashion, textile, and soft accessories, scarves, apparels, or cushions, is common to see around 8 to 15% of net or wholesale sales paid to the licensor as a royalty. Some mass market t-shirt or apparel deals may sit lower, like 4 to 8%, especially at high volume. For more niche, premium, or museum-linked collaborations, you might see rates towards the higher end of that spectrum. Emerging artists may start on the lower side. Well-known artists or estates or institutions with strong brand value can command higher rates generally, or higher minimum guarantees. So what matters just as much as the percentage is what it's calculated on. Is it the percentage of wholesale price or a percentage of net sales after they agree? You want that base clearly defined so there are no surprises later. There are key license agreement highlights you must include, and let's go through the big clauses you should always pay attention to in a licensing or an artist collaboration agreement, which is grant of rights. So exactly which artwork and product categories and territories and for how long. So keep it very specific, like textile for women's scarves in the UK for 3 years is clearer than all products. Number two is exclusivity. Is a license exclusive or non-exclusive, or exclusive only in a certain category? If you're paying for exclusivity, it should be reflected in the royalty rate, advance, or minimum guarantees. Number three is royalty and payments, the royalty percentage. The base is calculated on wholesale net sales or another clearly defined number, payment dates, statements, and the right to audit if needed. Number four, quality control and approvals. Licensor will often want approval over how their artwork is used, the color placement. So you have to build that into your timeline. The artwork approvals does take time. Intellectual property ownership. The artist usually keeps ownership of the original artwork. Clarify what happens with any new designs or adaptations creating during the collaboration. Termination and breach. What happens if someone doesn't meet obligations, like not paying royalties or using the art on an unauthorized product? So you don't need to become a lawyer, but you do need to understand these basics so you can protect both the artist and your own brand. There is a difference between original versus licensed artwork. Commissioning original artwork for your brand or licensing existing artwork for a specific collection, they're different things. When you commission original work, you're paying the artist to create something new, often with your brief, maybe for an exhibition. So you need to clarify whether you're buying just the right to use the artwork in certain ways or full copyright and ownership, which usually will cost you more. When you're licensing existing work, the artwork already exists, so you're paying for the right to reproduce it on your products for a time. In both cases, you must respect the integrity of the work, avoid distorting it in ways that would upset the artist or misrepresent their intentions. Get clear and get written permission for any major adaptations. Color matching fabrics and prints and techniques. We have done this so many times for V&A Museum, British Museum, and other startups. And it does get really tricky when you have to have exact artwork in the exact colors on the fabrics. Let's get a bit nerdy, but in a good way. When you're translating artwork into fabric, the technical decisions matter. You need to consider color matching, fabric choice, print techniques. With museums or high profile artists, you will go for extra sampling rounds, work with specialist printers, and there's formal sign offs from the merchandisers and the curators or estates. It's your job to hold the line between commercial practicality and artistic integrity and communicate clearly with both your print partners and right holders, and having that expectation with your printers to explain the level of print integrity and the colors and how important it is. It really pays dividends in the end because they understand it is a specialist piece of product created for an exhibition. Have that conversation with your printing partners. Working with artists and archives is relational. It's not just about contracts, it's about trust, manage expectations, and have that creative collaboration together. Be clear from the start what you're creating, how many pieces, where they will be sold, and what kind of price point. Share mock ups if possible or work in progress, and listen to their concerns if they're not happy with a certain part of the product development, because you're creating something with their art, not just using it. When artists feel respected, heard, and properly credited, collaboration becomes joyful. For V&A, there will be like a credit line on a scarf saying so and so for V&A. So the artist is actually credited. It just makes them feel more included in the process when you credit them properly. Quality control is a big part in merchandising. The type of stitching, the seams, the labels, all of those become a big part. So check for the finishes, the colors, build extra QC in the production process, protects the artist's reputation, the museum or archive's reputation, as well as your own brand. Now, if you're an independent artist or a founder wanting to work with them, here's the good news. You don't have to be a big institution to do this. Artists can license existing works to brands for specific product ranges, collaborate on capsule collection, and start small with limited editions. Get clear on what you want to achieve and decide what you want, flat fees or royalties or a mix of those, and clear agreements. And you can build a whole brand around artwork based merchandise, but it has to rest on solid agreements and mutual respect. The artwork based product usually sit in a premium or at least a special space, and they often have higher price points. Be transparent about who the artist is, share the story of the artist or the story behind their work, explain the process, because it's not just another printed scarf. The scarf with the story is a wearable piece of art that your pricing and packaging, messaging should reflect that. So, as you have been listening, maybe there's a lot of information that I've covered, but I've been doing this for over 20 years, helping artists and museum to create their merchandising. Maybe you are an artist wondering how to turn your work into products without giving everything away, or a founder dreaming of collaborating with museums, don't know where to start or talk to the right holder, feeling overwhelmed by the details. So you don't have to figure this out on your own. This is the kind of specialized work I've done for years, from museum scarf collections to artist collaborations. It's a big part of what I support inside Build the Dream brand, helping you structure fair licensing deals, guiding you on typical royalty ranges and what's appropriate for your product and partner, supporting you through technical and the creative side of turning artwork into highly quality merchandise. So if you like help, you find a link in the show notes where you can download a free artwork licensing checklist that covers key agreement points and questions to ask. Or you can always book a call with me so we can go through your specific collaboration ideas, find your manufacturer who can print for you and present your wearable art to exhibitions, museums, and stores. So you can create beautiful, profitable art-based products, and you don't have to compromise the integrity of the work or your own peace of mind to do it. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly of Building the Brand. In the next episode, we'll explore the mindset you need to build a brand, which we all do need to work on quite a lot as a solo founder. Until then, remember, behind every beautiful piece of artwork based merchandise is a relationship. Nurture it well. Until next time, keep going, keep building.